I'm doing a spoiler-free review today. I finished the Blue Book of Nebo. This is a library copy, so it's laminated. I'm going to be returning this to the library, but I wanted to talk about it because I absolutely loved it. We follow Dylan and his mom in a post-apocalyptic world. Basically, they live in a small town in an isolated cottage, and they have survived a nuclear war. Every chapter alternates with the narrator. Sometimes you're reading Dylan's point of view as he's writing in his blue book, and then sometimes the mom is writing it, and I absolutely loved the way it was structured. I found myself oftentimes preferring to read the mother's point of view because she was obviously older when the world fell apart, and that's always my favorite part of post-apocalyptic movies, TV shows, books. Like, I love to find out how everything fell apart and the chaos of it. And this one's a little bit more subtle, it's a little bit more gentle, but never cheesy. Again, similar to Station 11, which is another book that I really love. This is much more grounded in reality, and although it's described as a post-apocalyptic book, it really reads more as a back to the land kind of novel where people are learning to live off the land and kind of find sustainable ways of living in a world where they don't have access to running water, electricity, airplanes, trains, cars, you know, stuff like that. So I really loved it. I think it's beautifully written. It takes place in Wales, and there's a lot of talk about the Welsh language and how the mother wanted her son to learn Welsh, and she's teaching him all these things. I think language and culture is such an important aspect of life. So it was very interesting to see how the mother keeps that alive in a current state of the world where things are not only falling apart, but also the fact that you don't really get an answer to it. And normally that would piss me off. Like, I love knowing what happened, who was at war, what's going on. I need the details, and I hate open-ended books, but for some reason this book is so well written that I didn't mind. But truly, if you think about it, at least in the way that it happened here, basically the lights went out first, like the electricity, and that instantly cut all communications. It does make sense that she wouldn't know how it started because she can't just turn on the TV, she can't look at her phone. This book was published in 2021, but I don't remember if this takes place at a time when cell phones were even a thing, like aside from like maybe flip phones. So there is a chance that there was no way anyway for them to like scroll on Twitter and say, oh, the world's falling apart. What I also really enjoyed about the book is that the protagonist also finds comfort in this new world of not necessarily being seeing people. Like, it is very isolating, but I think it helps with their anxiety, and there's a lot of commentary within this book about what technology has done to us and how, you know, we're seeing everything through a screen, or we're not really present and grounded in the moment. Let me read it. Alone in an isolated hillside cottage in rural Wales without electricity or modern technology, the two must turn towards each other and learn new skills in order to survive. And yeah, they each have little secrets here and there, and it's a beautiful book. I don't know what else to say. I highly recommend it. It is so short. I've literally read this in a day within a couple of hours, but it really left a mark on me. Like, I really thought about it a lot, and the ending was also really interesting, sad and beautiful. And I know I said this is a spoiler-free video, so I might just start doing separate videos for the actual spoilers because I feel bad. We're like, it's spoiler free, and at the end I'm like, all right, turn this off if you don't want to hear anything more. Like, some people don't like want to put the video down and just let it play and not have to, like, you know, pause it or something. So I think I'm just gonna leave my spoilers for the next video, do a quick little spoiler talk about this book. It wasn't like a crazy ending or a super depressing ending. Like, it's very optimistic in the fact that these survivors have found a way to make food for themselves, to kind of keep the memory alive of the people that matter or those that have helped them. For example, the mother has a hard time picking over what's been left at like neighbors' houses because it feels like an invasion of privacy even if these people are no longer there. And you kind of watch and learn and see how she grapples with that and navigates a world where it kind of is like finders keepers. Like, you're gonna have to do some things that might have been uncomfortable at first, and now you have no choice because you're providing for your son and also your baby girl. It's also cool to read from the son's perspective because there's a lot about his mother that's a mystery, and he has a hard time asking her questions because he feels that she's gonna shut down and not want to give him answers as to who his dad is, a couple other things that are kind of unknown for him. I think he was like 6 years old when the nuclear war started. So, and I say war, but again, you don't really know the premise, you don't know between who, you just know that bombs were dropped, and at some point you do kind of see a bomb drop. At some point there is talk about radiation and stuff. I like it. I think it's cool. I recommend it. If this sounds interesting to you, I definitely recommend picking it up, at least at your local library. Really beautiful book.